Welcome to another episode of Dimes on Duval. My name is Mike Yashi, joined remotely once again with Keith Manzi and Skylar Chase. How you guys doing tonight?
Not
Doing
bad.
all right.
Not bad. Good to hear, guys. It's been a while since we recorded. It's been about 2 weeks. Last episode we posted was on November 18th, and we do apologize for not getting it out on social. It's just those last 2 weeks have been, I believe, hectic for all of us. I know it was at least hectic for me, and I believe it was hectic for the other two guys.
Very much.
Of Dimes on
Keith got
Duval.
to call an NCAA basketball game last week.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for reminding me, Skylar. Keith, how was that experience?
I'll tell you what. So for those of you that didn't know, my brother Scott is the voice of Jacksonville University Dolphins, and the basketball game that was scheduled 2 days prior was they had a lack of people, and they needed somebody to call the game on ESPN Plus. So Scott comes to me with desperation mode, like, please, man, like, can you do this? And I was like, oh, man, yeah, I guess. So
Wait, there was hesitation for you?
I was scared. I mean, honest to goodness truth, I was nervous. And I sat there at work when I got the news, and I had actually my coworkers, thank you, coworkers, for talking me into it, because I was very, very nervous because, you know, I've never done television before, let alone radio, anything like that. I've called games just for fun while watching TV when the sound's off, but nothing to this caliber. So I took it. He gave me notes, he gave me the players. I wrote notes on literally everybody, and he's like, yeah, you'll be sitting next to Hall of Famer Artis Gilmore, and calling the game on TV. And I'm like, oh my God. And I got there, I got everything set up almost 2 hours early. Artis comes in, he gets his players, his sheet of paper with all the players' names on it. The only note that he wrote on his piece of paper, and I saw it scrawled in all caps, Keith, Keith. I was like, well, good, he'll remember my name now. And I told him how to pronounce Knuchuk, the guy from Southern Miss that had the funny last name. And yeah, we took off. I had, my nerves were busting out of my seams in the beginning because I stumbled over words. I said things wrong. But after a while, I got a little more comfortable. But still, I want to be able to do it again. So that way, now that I have one under my belt, I feel like I could do it better next time. Learning the proper way to close out before a commercial break. But shout out to everyone that gave me a listen and shouted me out on Twitter and everywhere else. Like, I really appreciate it. It means a lot. I still am very critical of myself, and I thought I did terrible, but a lot of people told me they enjoyed listening to me. So, again, I greatly appreciate that.
No problem. That's what we're here for. But no, speaking of nerves to relief, I bet you felt relieved after the game, right, Keith?
I did, very much so.
Well, I bet you didn't come as nearly as much relieved as you were on Sunday when we all found out that the Jacksonville Jaguars fired General Manager Dave Caldwell.
I thought with all that relief talk, you were going to say he was relieved of his duties, but
I would.
I mean, he was relieved of his duties.
Yeah,
but he was relieved of his duties as general manager of the Jacksonville Jaguars. He started here in Jacksonville back in 2013. He worked here for about 8 years, and he unfortunately could not. 8 years. Well, no, I don't say 8 years too long. I'd say 2 years too long. But what were your guys' first impressions when you found out that Dave Caldwell was fired?
Well, I mean, it was going to happen. I feel like it was either that one or Doug or both, or, someone's going to get fired at some point this season. And I guess that was our 10th straight loss. That was where we could draw the line, 10 straight. So, I mean, I wasn't surprised or anything. It's more so like here we go again type of deal. Another rebuild.
I'm going to go the other way. I was actually quite surprised. I didn't think Sean had it in him to fire somebody like before the end of the season, and it always seems like I thought that we were going to be stuck with him another season. So I was, like you said, very relieved and just thankful. And I'm like, wow, okay, Sean, about time you finally woke up and realized that you had an NFL team too.
No, I agree. And I remember getting a text message from one of my friends back in college. He texted me, Caldwell was fired. And I was like, wait, what? And then I was ironically in church when I got the text message. So I looked, I was like, there's no way. So I pull up Twitter for a few seconds. The first thing I see is Adam Schefter tweeted it. So I texted our group, group message, and also a few groups related to some of my buddies here, and also down in Tampa, and just everyone has been blowing on my phone since then. And I said, let me get out of church, then I'll call some people, because I was in shock I still am in shock that we no longer have Dave Caldwell as our general manager, because I did not think this day was coming, at least not mid-season, because Shad Khan has usually kept people to the end of the season unless it's a blowout loss, and he only has done one mid-season firing before, so it was definitely strange, or really two, I guess, if we count Coughlin.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess it's strange, but I feel it's like almost a save face type of move. He's got all this Lot J stuff going down too, so he needs every fan support he can get, and obviously he can't get the support from fans if we have a losing regime around while we're trying to build a parking lot or a stadium or whatever he's trying to convince everyone that they're going to be doing downtown.
Well, we'll save that for the other shows, because I know there's a couple other shows that talk about that kind of stuff. But I wanted to touch on with what the new GM, whoever he or she may be, will inherit. They're going to get 5 draft picks in the first 3 rounds of 2021, including 2 first rounds, $84.5, almost $85 million in projected cap space.
And it could increase too with more cuts.
Could increase as well, correct. A clear path to a franchise QB. I mean, if that's, I mean, that is what we need. But like, Justin Fields or
Kyle Trask, whoever.
We decide on. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good young pieces. I mean, you could still argue Josh Allen is still a good young piece. He just gets doubled every game. James Robinson, Laviska Shenault, Moore, and influence over coaching. I mean, I don't think he's gonna keep Doug around, but he can probably figure out who he wants to bring in and be his or her top dog. So that was from Jeremy Fowler, by the way, from ESPN. He tweeted that a couple days ago. I just thought that was it seems like it's a gold mine here.
Let me run a scenario by y'all and how likely you think it might be. So whoever the new GM's going to be, we don't know, but let's say they bring in Nathaniel Hackett and sign Aaron Rodgers to teach Justin Fields or whoever we draft in the first round.
You're telling me Aaron Rodgers and Nathaniel Hackett coming back?
Well, Aaron Rodgers hasn't been back since the other, what?
No, I'm saying, I meant to say, when I said Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah, I understood. I get what you're saying.
I know what you're
he's
saying.
He's a former offensive coordinator. So, there's that connection with Shad a little bit. And I'm not sure who fired Hackett, but prior to him being fired, he was being talked about as a possible head coach candidate. I remember Keith and I were on the sideline for the Titans game. He walked over, and that was right after we beat the Jets or the Patriots, one of those games, and things were rolling smooth, and he was getting talked about a lot. And I don't think it's necessarily that bad of a hire in terms of coaching, because Aaron Rodgers has given very high praise for him and said hopefully he doesn't go anywhere, or if he does, hopefully I come with him. So with the connection to Shad and Jacksonville already with Nathaniel Hackett, I don't know if he's got bad blood between Shad, or if Shad was the one that fired him, because I think we all knew Wash was probably the one that needed to go in that scenario. And for some reason they fired Hackett to make it another save face move, arguably. I think maybe Caldwell or Coughlin made that fire. So I don't know if there's really any hard feelings between Shad and Nathaniel, but if he can come and bring Aaron Rodgers here and implement an offense while, Justin Fields or Trask or Wilson, whoever we get at quarterback in one of those rounds, sits behind Aaron Rodgers for at least a season, I think that would be an interesting scenario. Now, it's very unlikely, but it's something that I've been thinking of that would be interesting to see happen.
Keith, you're the Packers fan. Response?
Well, I think Aaron has another year in his contract in Green Bay, but I'm not sure if it's a player option or not. But shoot, I just know Hackett does have a good rapport with Matt LaFleur, the head coach of the Packers. But I think the big thing would be if he were to be enticed, I think he'd want to call plays. And LaFleur definitely, I can't recall if he still calls the plays. I don't think he does anymore, but he was not able to when he first got to Green Bay, and I think he'd probably want to call his own plays. Or, shoot, if he trusts what we have in Jacksonville right now, it's hard hard to believe that anybody would. But I mean, it's an interesting one. That's a good one, Skylar. I liked that. I mean, shoot, it'd be really strange to see Aaron Rodgers not in the green and gold, but I wouldn't be mad if he came to Jacksonville. Actually, that'd be the only other spot I'd really want him to go.
So I did look up Aaron Rodgers' contract. He is currently signed through 2024. I'm sorry, through 2023. However, there is a potential out in 2022. The thing is, we're not going to be able to get. And the thing is, if the Packers decide to cut Rodgers, that's a dead cap hit of $31 million next year. So there's no chance in how they're cutting him.
It was like $134 million contract, right?
Yeah, it was $134. Yep, $134 million.
So who are we trading to Green Bay to get him?
There is. We'd have to give him a first round pick probably. I'm good on that. No, we're not. I do. It's an interesting idea, especially with Hackett, but I don't see the Packers moving on from Rodgers.
But realistically, I could see Hackett
next year.
At least Hackett, but that's just one option.
Well, if you get Hackett, that's the groundbreaker. I mean, that's the first step in the stepping stones. And Jordan Love didn't really do much, and he didn't really have a preseason to really show us anything. But if they want Jordan Love to be the guy, then get rid of Rodgers and ship him to Duval.
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, it's an interesting idea. But I just don't see that happening. Me personally. I think they're going to take a quarterback in number 2 if they end up landing in number 2, and whoever they take in number 2 will be the quarterback day 1 in 2021 once the season kicks off. I don't think they're going to go after a quarterback.
There could be a QB battle with Minshew still.
No, I don't see that, but we'll see with the new head coach and new general. I'm sorry, if there is a new head coach and new general manager, what they decide to do come next year. But just a quick question. Was it too early or was it too late to cut Dave Caldwell or fire Dave Caldwell? We'll start with
too late. They should have done it before the season. And I'll leave it at that. That's it.
Fair enough.
I hated the guy. He didn't give anything the last couple of years, so I was done.
Yeah, I guess it would be too late. It was probably too late when they brought Coughlin to do his job, and then you had those two guys trying to do one job. If you felt like you needed to bring someone else in, then I felt like maybe at that point you probably should have just bring someone else in, just take over the job entirely anyways. So.
No, I agree. And I think it is too late. I think it's actually 2 years too late because I believe they should have honestly cleaned house after the 2018 season disaster to salvage some relationships with, for example, Jalen Ramsey, Yannick Ngakoue, Calais Campbell. Even though Calais has no hard feelings, I still think he is a little butthurt about how he got pretty much cut. Traded.
I wouldn't say butthurt.
And also Mercedes Lewis.
I'd say more just disappointed. Just like the way
disappointed.
You were about to say Mercedes Lewis the same way. He was hurt. He was hurt. He still is hurt.
Yeah. Also, there were some just questionable moves that Dave Caldwell has done since he became general manager, but also some good moves. But what do you think? Just quick recap of Dave Caldwell's career. Best decision of his career in his 7 years in Jacksonville.
Leaving gracefully.
Or so. Leaving gracefully, getting fired.
I'd probably say
best
James
decision,
Robinson,
not worst decision.
In terms of getting the scouts that found him. I don't know how direct his impact finding James Robinson was, but
I agree. I agree. I was talking to one of my friends today, Jonathan, and he said, "Was it Dave Caldwell or was it the scouts?"
With that
really
too, I feel like we've brought in quite a few, a bit of talent, in later rounds, undrafted talent, and I wouldn't give him the full credit, but the fact that he does have the scouts that are able to pick up on some of these guys, Allen Hurns was a great undrafted receiver, and that was his first stint, I believe, his first year as GM that year. And we got Robinson.
Yeah.
So no, you're good. We got Robinson that year, and then also finding Yannick in the third round is a gem.
Well, I said one decision, Tyler, not
his
6.
decision is bringing on the scouts, so that's the decision. He brought on some scouts that were able to identify good gems later on. So that's the decision. Finding the scouts to get the good players that we'll still have.
Gotcha.
To play off that, I was going to say the 2016 draft with Ramsey, Jackett, and Ngakoue. I mean, that was great at the time. That was a great draft. But, I mean, I do look at it where he definitely had this infatuation of taking players that he probably could have gotten in later rounds way too high. And, that's just – I don't know, man. Just
like one guy, I guess, is I could think of as an example for you, Keith, is like Denard Robinson. I'm not sure if he –
Denard Robinson. I mean, I'm honestly what's his face? Dang, I just lost his name. I can't believe K'Lavon Chaisson. I mean, he was a great prospect, but I don't think he was worth being the first round. I mean, he still has time to prove that, but I still don't think he was still worth that. And forgive me, am I wrong? Was he the one who drafted Brian Anger? Was that him?
Who? No, that was Gene Smith.
So never mind. So not Brian Anger, but yeah, Denard Robinson, Ace Sanders, both of those guys. Oh man, what were they?
Well, 2013 draft class was just terrible to begin with Ace Sanders and Luke Jokel and whatnot. So that's enough of it. Yeah. So just a quick few words on what do you think his worst decision was? Now that we're going based off 2013, what do you think his worst decision was as GM?
Oh, I'm going Leonard Fournette. Yeah, right. Close.
But someone, I mean,
Brian. Probably. Actually, you know what? I'll go with Taven Bryan.
So Taven and Fournette, I would say more. I feel like are aligned with Coughlin. So I don't know if you can say that. So okay, how about this? Not counting 2017 to 2019, what is his worst? If you can think of something.
Gus Bradley probably was a really bad decision. Had the final say.
Fair enough. I was going to say that, but I've got one that's going to piss off one person.
The collapse of last year and just like trading everybody away. That
I was going to say maybe extending Bortles too. Is that what you're going to say, Mike?
I was going to say drafting Bortles, but yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah. I don't think the draft. I mean, who did we draft Bortles over in that QB class?
It
was Manziel,
Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater, yeah, but that's not who I wanted. I wanted Khalil Mack, to be honest with you, over Bortles, but that's a different story.
Yeah.
Anyways, enough about NFL. We're going to college football real quick. So last time we talked with each other, Keith and Scott got into a heated debate over the college football rankings and to see who should be in the college football playoff. So 2 weeks have gone by. We've had two sets of rankings, and no changes happened among the top six. Number 1, Alabama. Number 2, Notre Dame. Number 3, Clemson. Number 4, Ohio State. Number 5, Texas A&M. And number 6, Florida. That is how the college football playoff committee has decided the top 6 the last 2 weeks. Like I said, there has been no change. Now, there's obviously been change among the top 25, but Skylar, we'll start with you. What has been the most confusing thing about the top 25, if there is one so far, or what is one thing you disagree with?
Well, even though I don't want BYU to get into the playoffs, I do think they deserve a higher ranking than 13th. They're 8-0, 9-0.
They are 9-0, and they started off 14 in the original college football ranking.
Yeah, so I mean, just because they got a weak schedule, I understand that, but I would still put them as a top 10 team right now. It'd be hard to say anything higher than 8 or 9, but it's because Cincinnati's still playing pretty well. Florida and Texas A&M. Florida's only losses to Texas A&M, and Texas A&M's only losses to Alabama. So, with the eye test there, it's going to be like that, and things will settle out with that too. Same with Clemson, Notre Dame. Those will straighten out, and then you got Ohio State in there at 4-0, which I get, but also at the same time, it's weird seeing a 4-0 team amongst teams that are 8-1. 7-1, 9-0.
Oh yeah, it's just this year. It's COVID-19. It's the pandemic that's affecting things.
And Ohio State played a good game against. They escaped against Indiana. For the most part, they held up a big lead, and then Indiana kind of stormed back. I don't know if anything's going to get in the way of Ohio State other than COVID-19 because of all these cancellations. So it will be interesting to see if they even get a full qualifying season in. But as of right now, I guess BYU is the biggest thing.
Okay. Keith?
Going off of what Skylar just said with Ohio State, yeah, the biggest thing that will get in the way is COVID-19, and they the conference did say that if they are not able to complete like 6 games, they're not even qualified to be in the conference championship game. So like sitting at 4-0, and cancellations keep happening over and over. It's gonna be interesting to
And I
see what
don't
happens
mean
there.
to interrupt,
My
sorry,
biggest
Keith,
thing,
but I just want to ask you, who do y'all blame for this? Do you blame the Big Ten for waiting too long to get their season started? Like, if you're Ohio State or a fan, like, and Ohio State doesn't play enough games, are you mad at Ohio State for waiting, like with the Big Ten, or are you mad at just the Big Ten in general?
I would say the Big Ten in general. I mean, I'm not going to say that waiting too long was a bad thing. I think it's more of just their protocols just aren't there. I mean, how are all these other teams being able to, push through their season all right? And granted, they've had hiccups. Florida had a couple games mess up. Florida State's going through it right now. But, like, you really haven't seen as much with some of these other conferences. And so
the thing is, the Big Ten does have more strict protocols where if someone does test positive, they have to quarantine for almost 3 weeks instead of the normal 2 weeks, which is affecting things. So it's just a whole – I think it's crazy. A little crazy, but it is – I mean, the Big Ten also was the most hesitant about playing college football, and with fair reason right now because they're struggling. And right now, them and the Pac-12 both were hesitant. And the Pac-12 right now, their highest ranked team is what I'm seeing is USC at 20. So it's definitely affecting the big Pac-12 as well. But the Pac-12 knows they're not going to make the playoffs, so it doesn't matter to them. But it does affect the Big Ten with Ohio State. So I think the blame goes to the Pac-12. I'm sorry, the Big Ten, but also goes to the schools for not trying to contain the virus. So
back to Keith talking about. Sorry, yeah. So like that's what's just interesting.
That's okay. Yeah, no, it was an interesting question. But my biggest thing is the overrated Iowa State Cyclones. Now I like Iowa State. No, don't get me wrong, but they're a 2-loss team. They're sitting at number 9 right now. They've moved up 4 spots from last week. I don't understand how you can justifiably put them, ahead of
or even Northwestern,
BYU, who's 9-0. Northwestern as well. I mean, all these teams that seemingly are better than them, but they're sitting at 9, right behind Georgia, with their marquee win, quote unquote, being against Oklahoma, who again is still not as great as they've been. They beat Oklahoma State when they were number 6 they lost to Oklahoma State, who was number 6 at the time. But I mean, beating Texas, I'm not going to be sitting here getting all hyped about, but they lost also to the Louisiana Raging Cajuns, who they're all the way down at 25th in the rankings, and they only have 1 loss. And I'm not saying Louisiana should be ranked ahead of them, but I don't know what the hype is for Iowa State right now. But I mean, I'm just sitting here looking. They got West Virginia on the slate this coming weekend, but I mean, like, no love for Coastal Carolina, who actually plays BYU.
I was going to bring that up. Coastal Carolina and BYU should be hopefully a good matchup this Saturday. They both scheduled.
Can I make that the game of the week for all of us?
I don't know what the schedule is, but yeah, why not?
I mean, Florida-Tennessee is still a big game for me.
I could care less about that game.
I'll be changing the channel.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I agree with both of you. BYU being underrated, in my opinion, and also Iowa State I think is a little too high. I also believe Georgia is still a little high. They have not looked good in some games, so it's very concerning. But they are SEC teams, so I get it. No.
Also, I just wanted to throw in a little shout out to Marshall. Like, they're undefeated as well.
Yeah.
Like, I know they're in the CUSA, but still, I mean, undefeated season so far for the Thundering Herd.
Yeah, good for them.
Hats off to them.
So it's gonna be very interesting the rest of the way. Do you guys have any changes? So each of you, if you want to give an update on what you believe the Final Four will be, just real quick.
I'm going to keep it the way it is right now. Just who's in it right now.
So Alabama, Notre Dame, Clemson, Ohio State is your Final Four.
Okay. Sure.
I'm going to take Notre Dame out, and I'll put Texas A&M in.
Okay. All right.
Still no faith for Notre Dame.
Okay.
I said no faith for Notre Dame.
They're heathens at that church.
Okay. We're not getting into there.
If they don't beat Syracuse by 20, I'd be surprised.
Well, I just said I'm expecting them to lose to Clemson by big. Like, I'm expecting Trevor Lawrence to beat them by 21 in the ACC championship.
And before you guys go any further, if anyone wants to listen to that debate, go back to the last episode where Keith and Skylar got into it a little bit about Notre Dame and Clemson. Let's move on. We're going to go ahead and go back to the NFL real quick, just for a quick segment update from what we did, I believe, week 4 or 5. Is that right, Keith?
Yeah, I believe so. I think it was week 5 or going into week 5.
Going into week 5. So Keith, Skylar, and I did a little segment called Frauds and For Real. So we were trying to see which NFL team at the time who was either undefeated or had one loss are for real or frauds. So Keith, go ahead and give us an update on each of our frauds and for real teams that we selected earlier this year.
Gotcha. So we did have an interesting little debate on this. So I would definitely, if you don't recall, that's why I'm here. I'm going to give you a little rehash on that. But we have, for Skylar, his frauds were the Rams. I almost called them the St. Louis Rams.
Those are really frauds.
No.
Yeah, those are the biggest frauds of all. No, he had the Rams as his pick for frauds. So as we look at the schedule or the standings now, they're at 7-4, right behind the Seahawks at 8-3. So they still have a good chance of making the playoffs.
So yeah, right now the Rams are currently the 5 seed in the NFC.
Yeah, so I mean, look at Tampa Bay's 7-5. You know, they're right there, but you have the joke of the NFC East and the not so great NFC North. So LA looks like they're going to be a for real. So probably not a fraud.
It's hard to say they're for real if they're losing to San Francisco.
Division games are different, though.
I guess, yeah, sure. But was Garoppolo playing? Garoppolo? We'll see.
But I still think
I mean, we lose to
We're
Ryan
the Jaguars. We're not the Rams. We don't have Jalen Ramsey on our defense.
Well, they had a very good win at Tampa Bay the week before, and they beat the Seahawks.
Yeah, and Tampa Bay's looking like a fraud more so now.
We'll see.
We'll see. I mean,
they actually have a really good game this weekend against the Cardinals. So,
who, the Rams or the Bucks?
The Rams at Arizona.
I'll try the Bucks have a bye week. I forgot.
Yeah. So my fraud was the Chicago Bears, and I am grinning as I say this. They're sitting at 5-6, third in the division because Minnesota holds the tiebreaker over them. They still have the most inept offense I think I've ever seen ever.
And just to make it even worse for Bears fans, they are on a 5-game losing streak, and they have not looked good in any of those games.
I went to bed the other night after the Packers game, and I knew we were going to win. I was just like, I wonder how many they'll put up. They put up 25 points, garbage points, but the Packers completely dominated that game. Trubisky fumbled the ball like 3 times. I mean, didn't lose it every time, but fumbled the ball, threw a beautiful interception into the end zone. And again, they decide they want to run the ball with David Montgomery, who's just average. They forget to throw the ball to Allen Robinson, which they should be doing 999 times a game. And their quarterback situation is just abysmal. So, sure, you can talk about how great your defense is, but your offense sucks, so you're never going to win a game.
Yikes. Harsh words from Keith on the Bears, but it's deserved. Go ahead.
I'm allowed to. As a Packers fan, I'm allowed to talk as much junk as possible. And Mike's fraud was the Cleveland Browns, who are 8-3.
I still believe the Browns are frauds. They still could easily fall out of the playoffs for what I.
The Browns and the Rams are pretty much identical. They both have a garbage quarterback, but a solid defense and a solid running game. Yeah,
wonderful running game.
No, Rams do not have a run game, and the defense.
The Rams' running game's not developed yet, but I think they have some players there that they can. Like Darrell Henderson's pretty good at runner.
He has not seen the field as much lately, but I disagree on that.
Well, I mean, no one's Nick
Browns quarterback. I take the Browns. I don't know who I'd take over the other. I don't know if I'd take Baker Mayfield or Jared Goff because both have been pretty bad at moments this year.
Yeah, well, looking at the schedule, I think they only have one. Let me double check. One win against a team with a winning record. So, I mean, they have a big game against the Titans on Sunday, but their only win against a winning team was against the Colts. And that's and sure it's a good win, but still they need to win the division games, and they need to win. And they need to basically win out for me to actually be impressed by them. But Mike, they're your fraud.
And even if, and just for everyone who kind of doesn't get to understand a fraud. They can still, if they make the playoffs, fine, but they're going to be real quick exits in the NFL playoffs if they make it, in my opinion as well. Like if the Browns do make the playoffs, I think they're one and done. And if the Rams make the playoffs, they might win a game because it looks like right now they'll be playing the NFC East winner. So whoever wins that could probably win that round matchup. So
Yeah.
we'll see. If we go from the frauds to the for reals, who do we have as for reals, Keith?
For real, Skylar and I shared the Green Bay Packers, who sit atop the NFC North at 8-3. They have the only positive differential in the NFC North at plus 66 point differential. So that's a good sign for them. They're scoring a lot of points. The defense has improved. Still not as great as they wanted to be, but Aaron Rodgers is having an MVP caliber season. Aaron Jones is still running the ball really well. Devontae Adams is still, the stud receiver we knew he was. They should take care of business against the Eagles on Sunday at 4:25. But the rest of this season, the toughest game is going to be at home against the Titans. So look for the Packers to continue their trend on the upward cycle and continue to win games. For Mike, probably the best pick of all, his for real was the
Yes, sir.
Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers are 11-0. Had a couple games that were close. The Cowboys game,
they fell
almost
asleep
let
there.
slip away. They struggled against the Ravens. Yeah, they struggled against the Ravens on Wednesday with RG3 at the helm, who was limping half the game, it seemed, which, poor guy, I feel bad for him. But, the rest of the season, they play at home against the Washington football team, at Buffalo, at Cincinnati, home versus the Colts, and they finish the season away in Cleveland against the Browns. So there are a couple games in there that could prove to be a little bit tricky, but it's hard to argue that the Steelers are anything but for real, and they should be finding themselves atop the AFC and going probably pretty deep.
And I do have some skepticism about the Steelers because they have pretty much faced a rather cupcake schedule.
And no bye week, really, unless if they do get the first round bye because of all the
COVID. Well, they had a bye week. They had a bye week.
It was moved way early to week 3 or 4.
It was moved earlier than they expected, And they've had the short end of the stick twice this year with COVID postponements, but I think that's just more motivation for the Steelers to get pissed off and then shut everyone up about the critics and all that so they can make their Super Bowl run. So I still think they are going to – I believe they're going to win the Super Bowl this year and beat the Seahawks. But I'm sorry, the Saints later on this year. But we'll see.
Interesting. Taysom Hill's going to lead them.
Wow.
Either the Saints or the Seahawks. I'm still undecided on that, but we'll see.
Interesting take there, Mike. All right. Well, yeah, they just have that amazing wide receiver core. How they get lucky and draft Chase Claypool this year. It's just not fair, man. I love seeing receivers just dominate. Also, I just wanted to point out with a fraud, the Jacksonville Jaguars are 1-10, and they have the second longest losing streak in the NFL.
No, thank you. Jets, we need them to win a game,
but not thank you at the same time. We kind of want them to win. Losing 10 in a row, guys. 10-0. How about that? Week 1, we were like, we're 1-0.
Started from the top to the bottom.
Up, and then boom.
At least we were in first place this season. No one else can take that away from us.
That's true. And you know what? I like our analysis here on these frauds and for reals. I think we did a pretty good job. A little iffy on our frauds.
Yeah, but the frauds, like Mike said, with Cleveland, early exit in the first round or playoffs, and I could see that with the Rams if they play undisciplined, but they do have a legit defense, and they're just getting by on that. So
since we're going, majority of our frauds and frills are a little bit of a cold weather team base, like cold weather city base. Let's touch on some cold weather topics real quick.
Oh, wow. That transition. Oh, that segue. Oh, Mike.
So, as if anyone has not noticed in Jacksonville, it's kind of been freezing cold lately. I don't know if you guys expected it because I did not.
It's not freezing. Freezing's 32 degrees and under.
It was 30 degrees the other day, and one of my friends up in New York sent me a Snapchat saying, I wish I was in Jacksonville when it was 38 degrees up there. I'm like, bro, it's colder down here than it is up there.
I think the coldest it got was 37.
It was
28?
It was
No,
28 the other
it was
day.
cold. It was 30 early morning the other day.
Yeah, no, we were outside at work the other day, and it was 28 degrees, and we're like, "Can we come inside, please?" And they're like, "Yes."
Well, Coastal's perfect for that cold weather if you're wanting to do some golf right now.
That's true. That's true. But before everyone goes to Coastal, we got some ideas here. So since it's getting cold, it's that time of year. The Christmas music's playing. It is near Christmas time, and whatever channel you usually turn on, if it's not sports related, there's usually a Christmas movie on. So I came up with the idea, and I know we've done this before on our previous iteration of on River City Road, where we drafted Christmas movies, and it's also like a homage to that. But it's that time of year where Christmas movies are on. Some people have fireplaces; they light up the fire. Bonfires are going on, whatever. So we want to do a little draft of Christmas movies, and since only three of us, we'll just do three movies each, and it's a snake draft. So we'll start with Skylar, who has the number one pick, and then we'll go over some movies here in a little bit, see if one pick is trash or it's an excellent pick, so on and so forth, like a normal draft. Go ahead, Skylar.
All right, with the first Christmas movie pick of the 2020 Christmas season, Skylar Chase picks The Santa Claus, Tim Allen.
Good pick. That was my number. That was my second choice, honestly.
Santa Claus. Okay, yeah. I forgot. I haven't seen that one in a long time.
Well, honestly, you could probably put on any TV channel, you'll probably find it.
Freeform is the channel with all of it.
Freeform is where they're at. Yeah, I actually watched a movie there last night. It's not on my list, but I'll save it till afterwards.
Well, wait, Santa Claus wasn't on your list?
I'm up next.
Oh.
No, I've only seen the movie like once. I don't know. I don't really.
Me neither. But in that whole movie, they point out the fact that his initials are SC because his name's Scott Calvin, and my initials are SC, which are the same for Santa Claus and Sports Center and all that. So
nice connection there, Skylar.
Yeah, it was him too.
And
I
Steph
guess.
Curry.
Meh.
You can wear that means you can buy his gear that has SC.
That's true.
Very true. It's my own personal brand.
Or are you really Santa Claus?
No, it's just that I'm a very manly man. That's no.
Oh. Well, damn. All right. Well,
no,
I guess
you can walk, Keith. Lame means you can't walk. You just can't grow hair.
My number one pick is going to be a classic, and I watch every year, A Christmas Story. It's hard to pick against it. It's on all day on TBS, or I don't know if they're going to do it this year, but, COVID. But it would affect that somehow. Don't judge me. But, yeah, no, A Christmas Story, number one. Gotta love it. Ralphie wanting his Red Ryder BB gun. Just an all-around great movie. So quotable.
All right. So now my good movie, Keith, that is also on my list, but a little lower on my list. So my first choice, I'm actually glad I get back-to-back choices because I want to lock these two up. My first choice is Home Alone. Home Alone is one of my – you said terrible. I hate you.
I hate that movie.
Why do you hate Home Alone?
It's not good. It's literally just like two inept criminals that fall for every Family Guy did the most perfect clip on it. If I find it, I will post it somewhere, maybe on our Facebook page or something. But they had the most epic clip ever that was just talking about how dumb those guys were. It's like, hey, don't touch this door handle. It's hot. Oh, okay, I won't. Instead of just grabbing it and holding on. It's like, it's like, wow, yeah. Then they shoot the kid. And
wow. Okay, I gotta see that. But no, I like Home Alone because there is a little bit of a connection to it. So I don't know if you guys know this, but Home Alone, the main character's name is Kevin McAllister. And my mom was pregnant with my brother at the time of the movie when it came out. I think maybe a year later after the movie came out. It was on TV when she was...
Oh my gosh.
Yes, my brother is named after the main character. And it works out perfectly because my brother's a little shit sometimes. So I know he's listening. So there you go, Kevin. But no, and Home Alone is always a classic. I always put whenever it's on, I'm never gonna change it. I love Home Alone. It's a funny movie. Like there's just so many quotable quotes in that movie for me. So that's my number one choice. And my number two, I don't know if Keith's gonna like it, but I like it, so it doesn't matter. Elf is my second favorite movie. I love Elf.
No, Elf.
I like Elf a lot.
Elf is a great movie.
Will Ferrell's hilarious. It's a funny movie. So that.
It's arguably one of his best movies, and it's one of the only things that I can actually watch Zoe Deschanel in.
Gotcha. No, I like Home Alone and Elf are my top two choices, and I kick the draft back to Keith.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm never gonna pick. I watch weird stuff. You guys don't, so I'm gonna go. Oh God, heads or tails. All right, I'm going to go Miracle on 34th Street, the original, the black and white version. It is a fantastic movie. It's warm and jolly, and Kris Kringle, it's just a happy movie, and I don't know, it's one of those movies that we always watch together as a family, so it has a special place in my heart.
And by the way, for everyone, at the end of the episode, what we want you to do is go to Dimes on Duval on Twitter, and we're gonna tweet out. I'm gonna tweet out a poll: who had the better list of Christmas movies, Skylar, Keith, or myself? So we'll see who people agree with.
We'll include the picks.
Yeah, so we'll include the picks.
But we want you to listen. So listen. Well, if you're listening right now, I want you to listen. Thank you.
All right, Skylar, you're up.
So with my second pick,
you got back-to-back,
yeah.
Skylar, so you got time.
So, I mean, it's coming down to a few. And with this one, I am going to go with Christmas with the Cranks, another Tim Allen movie.
That is on my list.
Your kiss is on my list. Anyways, yeah, it's a good movie, I guess. It's a little different, It's Christmas movies. It depends on your view of what a Christmas movie is and how much spirit you want to get into. So with this, it's just a unique perspective. It's
It's different. It's a different type of Christmas movie.
Yeah, it's a couple. Their kids are moved out, and they're trying to take advantage of the fact that they don't have anyone in town for Christmas. And lo and behold, everyone's trying to visit them now. So it's funny. It's good. I like Tim Allen a lot before he became a racist, but I guess he always was one. But these are some good movies. For the third one, I was saying something different earlier, but I'm probably gonna go with The Grinch here, and the live action one with Jim Carrey.
I was going to say which one. That's a good one.
No.
I was hoping that would fall back to me, but that's a good one.
No, I'm saying no because no, that one.
No, wait. The one with Jim Carrey does not suck. I don't know what you're talking about.
Keith, what is wrong with you?
Yes, it does.
You like the animated version?
Gosh.
Well, there's two
That's the
animated
original
ones. There's the new one, the new animated.
I thought you were talking about the new animated.
The classic one is not even a movie, isn't it?
No.
Is it just more so an hour-long showing?
It's a feature. Yeah, it's just like a feature. Yeah, a Christmas feature. It's not on my list, so I'm going to say it anyway. But like Charlie Brown Christmas.
Gotcha,
34 minutes or whatever.
I thought you were talking about the new one with the animated version. I was like, that's not the good one.
Never would I ever. No, I love Jim Carrey. I love him to death, but those just weird roles like that.
That's what he's good for.
Just creep me out. Like
that's literally what he's good for. Exactly. Thank you, Sam. He's like good at that.
Okay, all right. Let me correct that. Weird roles like Tim Burton, like weird, like that. That version of the Grinch reminds me of Tim Burton, and I can't stand Tim Burton. Okay. So like Nightmare Before Christmas is not on my list.
I was going to ask you guys about that one. Is that a Christmas movie or a Halloween movie?
It's Christmas according to Google.
Yeah, and Google does say that, so I have to agree with Google on that one.
People they think it's a Halloween and a Christmas movie. I'm like, I can see it, but anyway, not to get too off track. Yeah. Go ahead, Keith. Wrap up your picks.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter because mine are just all weird ones anyway. So mine's It's a Wonderful Life, which is arguably one of the greatest Christmas movies of all time with Jimmy Stewart back like 1946 or something.
Movie's okay, but I hate that damn ride in Disney. I cannot stand that ride.
It's a Wonderful Life ride?
Yeah. You thinking it's a Small World?
Is it? Oh, it's a Small World. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh my goodness.
I'm thinking it's a Small World. Yeah, my bad.
It's a
wonderful life.
No.
It doesn't work. See, it doesn't work.
My bad.
No. It's a very good movie if you've never seen it. Definitely worth checking out. But yeah, that's number 3 on my list. Mike, who you got?
I'm wrapping it up. I'm actually glad I got 3 of my top 4 picks. My last choice is a classic and it has Jalen Ramsey featured in it. The Polar Express.
That's the movie that was on last night. I'm glad I didn't say that.
No, I love that movie. That movie is it's a good, feel-good movie. Like, it's a good movie. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, I thoroughly enjoy watching Polar Express whenever it does come on. And whenever I see that little girl, I just die because now that she's a meme, it's hilarious that it looks like Jalen Ramsey.
You know what's funny is I'm very critical of movies, and I was talking to Alyssa on the phone last night about it, and I do like the movie. I think it's good. I love Tom Hanks. I just get so annoyed with the kid, the boy, and how idiotic he is sometimes. It's like, stop losing the ticket. He loses the ticket like 4 times in the movie. I'm like, come on, man, like, get your act together. But that's the point of the movie. It's got to keep you on edge, and
no,
he still has the spirit of Christmas. Good for him.
Yeah, no, those are some ones. Let's just name some ones that we left off. I left off Bad Santa and Harold and Kumar Christmas. Those two are funny.
Yes, a very Harold and Kumar Christmas. That was on mine too.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's such a
the only other
movie.
one I might have tried to include would have been Ted, and it's only because the opening scene is Christmas. So
that's not a Christmas movie in my opinion.
I don't know if I can put that on there.
Yeah, that's
I mean, he gets the best Christmas gift ever, and it becomes his best friend.
Like I said, in my opinion, it's not a Christmas movie, but I see what you're.
Well, it didn't even get drafted, so.
But good movie, but I don't think it's a Christmas movie.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. On my list, The Family Stone, which is another classic one. Dang it, I had another one. I can't remember. It was just off the top of my head. Oh, Office Christmas Party with Jennifer Aniston and what's his name? Jason Bateman, yeah. That was funny. And The Night Before with Seth Rogen, I know that's another new one. I mean, it's stupid because it's like...
That's more
Seth
so
Rogen,
a Jewish movie.
And stuff, but it's funny.
It is funny.
Yeah, it is funny, though. Stoner movies are just funny in general.
I said Jewish.
Let's just say that.
All right.
Oh, I said Stoner. Because
that's true.
We talked about Harold and Kumar.
I was just making sure you heard me right.
Anyways. All right,
yeah.
Okay, you guys are going a little off topic here. But if anyone else had any other Christmas movies, feel free to let us know on Twitter and on social media, whatever we post the episode. And also, don't forget to vote in our poll to see who you guys thought had the best Christmas movie list. And Keith or I or Skylar will put up the actual picks on Twitter as well. So one last thing before we wrap up. So the Icemen have 3 new owners. Skylar, do you want to touch on that? Who are the 3 new owners for the hockey team, the Jacksonville Icemen?
Tim Tebow, iconic super legend from Jacksonville, and then Miles Jack, great linebacker, and then I believe the other one's Reggie Hayward, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool just to see those 3 guys team up together. Miles Jack was talking about how incredible it is for him just to be doing business with Tim Tebow as a partner. But it's cool to see like it's local people being involved in the Icemen. So I don't think these 3 guys would ever have the idea of moving the team. They're gonna just keep city with the team. So I think it's good just seeing those 3 guys involved as opposed to just some random guy behind the Icemen. So
I agree. Keith,
I think it's cool as a former Iceman employee.
Flex on us.
Bob Arablo, the founding partner, and I believe he's the team president as well. Great guy, just very rooted in hockey and keeping it here in Jacksonville. The 3 guys that just added, they're actually 18th, 19th, and the 20th members now of the ownership group. So Daniel Murphy actually became part owner last year too. So it's cool to see a lot of local people getting involved and trying to keep this team here. You guys have a good product. If you haven't been to a game yet, go out. I wouldn't say it's quite on the level of the Jumbo Shrimp, but it's definitely worth going to a game because, 1, it's always cool in there, so you're not going to be sweating like you would at a Jumbo Shrimp game.
Yes, that's a fact.
2, the product is entertaining. I mean, shoot, watching some hockey fights, oh, man, that was probably one of the best parts. And 3, that's where I actually got to meet Jalen Ramsey back when I liked him, and that was pretty awesome experience.
And one thing is also might be better product on the ice than the Jaguars are on the field, but that's a comment.
Yeah. You know, walk across the street and watch a team win a couple games instead of
lose.
Watching the Jaguars catch L after L.
Yep. No, that's all we have for you guys today. Just wanted to touch on a few things. Well, one locally, recap a few things, NFL, college, and also get in the spirit of Christmas because Christmas is now, it's almost, it's 3 weeks away, guys. 1, 2, 3. It is 3 weeks away.
I'm getting my gifts. Somebody needs to win our prize back so they can get a gift from us.
Yeah, well, I'm not expecting anyone to get a prize back. Someone prove me wrong. We got a few more weeks left.
Maybe we'll just give it to whoever had the most wins pick correct. Yeah. I mean, everyone probably picked against the Jaguars, so that's everyone. So, never mind.
Yeah. Yes, no, we're not doing that. But no,
probably.
If it comes down to it, we might do plus or minus something down the line. But hopefully, someone will eventually get it. But do you guys have anything else before we wrap up?
That's all I got, brother.
Love you too, Skylar. So for Keith Manzi, for Skylar Chase, this is Mike Yancey signing off for Dimes on Duval. Thank you for listening, everyone. See you next time.